I would like also to start to say thank you to TED, to all of you, to be here and listen to something that is very risky because there's nothing in these papers. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to talk about. And I made this decision to keep myself as open as possible. And I am very glad to say that I am very inspired by all the speakers in here. And I would like to ask you for calming myself down and synchronize with yourself to listen one question over everybody's voice. So if you don't mind, I will ask you to sing with me with the tone Om, Om. Could you be loved and be loved? Could you be loved and be loved? Thank you. Yes. And to start talking about love, which is not something easy. For sure, I can say that there's much more to understand out of us than within us. There's much more in not being than it being. And I take the sample of some of the speakers here that have talked about the skogen, the woods. And it's the most lovely sensation to go to an old wood with big trees, isn't it? Everything feels to be in the right place with no effort. This sensation of love is what I would like to have in society, in every society. And without effort means that all the actors have a place to be themselves with their own integrity for the whole to work and to sustain. So the energy is never waste, the energy is transformed. The worm is not even waiting, and the leaf comes and he digests it to give back the food to the tree, which is going to be the food for the tree. So in this idea, there's much, I have to say that I have found myself much more in what I'm not than in what I am. And what I'm not, and I think is about time for society to face what we reject or what we are not. One way to do it, I choose it, it was to check on garbage. It ended up kind of to be an addiction for me. So I've been 6 years since I arrived to Sweden, checking the Swedish garbage. And I've been recycling food from the containers, from the industrial waste. I've been recycling home garbages. And actually, I'm 100% dressed by recycling clothes, even my interior clothes, which I'm not going to show. But yes, and on the way, also, walking around the streets and meeting people who also are the outsiders or what is rejected from society, I met them, I shared with them, and I got to hear amazing stories from drug addicts, from criminals, from idealistic people that wants to change the world. And one of the good things I learned was to recycle, no? And also that integrity is something totally important to achieve this law of society. We live, you might think, we live in a society well composed, but what happened with the neighbors? So, these neighbors that we can't see are the ones who are the most, is my deep interest. These people, these outcasts that are finding ways to survive, even society press upon them, judge them every time. And something I realize is that, especially here in Sweden, and especially in Göteborg, there's an aseptic sensation in the streets. So actually, after living in different cities, different big cities in the world, New York, Buenos Aires, something that was weird to me is not to see the young kids, the ironomans on the streets, not to see even kids. So everything is very aseptic, no? And I felt the need of creating a space where people can meet and share their experiences. And when I mean people, I mean every people, as they are. Places without rules, maybe. Places without law, that could be a bit difficult. And from the same perspective of the woods, also I understood that if we bring in all these characters, these outsiders, these difficult and conflictive people, and we create a place where we can welcome what they can give, we will be much stronger. We will be much healthier, because they will help us to find our center, our balance, and they will be helped to and feel useful for society. And let me tell you, I usually don't like to prey on people's fears, but crisis is on the other side of this wall. There's a big theater now created by the politicians and the economists. Actually, Europe is just one step from being in crisis. The Red Cross, I read the other day, is feeding on the streets millions of people in Europe. And I still wonder why we are throwing 30% of our food to the trash. Why are we still creating borders, rules, laws that are not able to face the new challenges of a new world, of a society that could lead to something sustainable? It's not news. It's not news that we are going to be extinct if we don't react, probably. So yes, after these experiences on the streets and trying to find my place and not specify and keep it open as these white papers, finally I got an invitation from a market, from a guy who fight for saving one of the biggest markets in Göteborg. It's called Kvibergmarknad. And it was him and the community who wants to save this market. And then I understood, yes, of course, it makes sense. I was in Argentina by the time that there was a big crisis, so the coin didn't have any value. And actually was in the markets where people find their way to survive. Unregulated markets, new coins invented for markets done on the streets. People start exchanging an egg for fixing the teeth. And of course, we need the markets. We need the markets because if tomorrow we have a crisis, is there or war where we are going to reactivate our economy? Our local economy must have places and as free as possible for exchanging new ideas, exchanging goods, and also for the coming of new social characters, for these people who create things with their hands, and they, even kids, and Harry Good. Here in Sweden, I've seen kids that are not allowed to sell little cakes because it's legal. I mean, until when we are going to keep obeying these laws that are not giving an answer for the new challenges? So yes, I'm doing illegal things. I've even cut the garbage lockers to get out food. I don't call myself a hero. It's very convenient for my pocket, by the way. So the idea of this invitation was that because I have some experience as a cooker, and so they invite me to take over a coffee. And I say, yeah, it sounds interesting, but I would like to go a little forward because this coffee is part of a culture center that we are going to create there. And my idea, I offered, is to create a place where we could gather as much actors, inconvenient, uncomfortable actors, to mix up, to come up with new ideas, maybe new products, in every sense. Which means, for example, that I'm not going to clean my coffee place with killing devices, as they do usually in here. I'm going to do it with life. There's something called, I don't know if you have heard, effective microorganisms, which is a mix of little things that will populate the surfaces. And they are very positive, so then the negative things wouldn't be able to colonize. This is one example. And then all the people I've met on the streets, on the woods, people that is living there on the woods, almost self-exiled for 15 years, kicked out by the police several times. So this place is going to be highly conflictive because I want to mix it with kids. I'm tired of tabooism in this society. No one talks about the real essence of drugs, for example. Every say, oh, this substance. What about this substance? Facebook. The phone. Now there are places where you can get rid of the phone because you are addicted. So, this project, you are very welcome to check it out. Of course, to support it if you find it interesting. It's called Stall Elva Cafe. It's in this Kviver place. And we are a group of people who believe on this idea. And then the question is, once again, could we be love? And love means, as someone says already, acceptance. Means to create communicational systems. And for being able to communicate to one another, we have to let go judgment, let go rules, open sources, pirates. You know, we need to get, as my friend philosopher says, we need to understand that I is a very limited conception. You, each one of you, is a planet with thousands, millions of creatures within. And your essence is water, is earth. We share atoms once and again, and we recycle, and we recycle through times. Could you be love? Thank you very much.